What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode. Not a brand new episode, but a brand new challenge here on NCAA 14, featuring that college football revamp, of course. And we got another challenge in store for us here. We are going to go ahead trying to build the Duke Blue Devils into more than just a blue blood in college basketball. We are going to try to build them up into a great program in football as well. As you can see how this football team has been as of late, they have not been very good for a very long time. You know, last time they did anything, 1989 ACC championship. Other than that, not a lot of history at Duke whatsoever. So we're going to try to turn it around, turn it into one of those programs that's competing for conference championships, going to bowl games consistently. So it's going to be a good one. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe as well if you do happen to be brand new, by the way. And either we're going to build Duke into something, or we're going to get fired and fail this thing. You'll just have to watch the rest of this video to find out. So taking a look at this roster as of right now, we do have at least one NFL caliber player to start off. We do have Mateo Durant, the senior running back from Abbeville, South Carolina. Now, the thing with this program is, you know, Duke has a decent overall, but ACC doing it in Power 5, one of the weaker Power 5 teams in America, it's going to be a tough rebuild. I mean, quarterback, we're not very good at quarterback right now. We do have two young quarterbacks, but Gunnar Holmberg, he's just a placeholder until either Luka Diamond, Riley Leonard, or Jordan Moore, you know, step into that role. But for now, we'll have Gunnar. Halfback already went into him. Wide receiver core is going to be at least decent, though. Jalen Calhoun and Jake Bobo are going to be leading the way as co-number ones. Then we have Jared Gardner and Eli Penco as well at wide receiver. Tight end, got Jake Marweed, which does remind me, going to go ahead and redshirt Nicky Dowman to get things going. Offensive line, it's okay. Nothing too crazy here. We're going to redshirt one of the centers, of course. We got 3 centers. Defensive side of the football, you know, we got some pieces. We definitely need to go ahead. I need to figure out what kind of defense that we are going to be running real quick before I do anything, at least with the front 7. Corners, we got 3 solid corners: Jeremiah Lunis, Leonard Johnson, Josh Brackwell. Safeties, we got 2 good safeties: Lummy Young the 4th and Jamaric Woods. And we're going to go, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name, but I'm going to redshirt him. And then strong safety, got 2 guys that I can redshirt. Going to redshirt Dylan Merrill and Jalen Stenson. 2 very good guys, Jalen Alexander and Nate Thompson. Might move one of these guys over at the end of the season over to free safety if we haven't been fired by then. And also, going to redshirt one of these quarterbacks. They both have similar speed, but I'm going to redshirt Riley Leonard because he does have lower awareness. As for what kind of scheme we're going to be running with David Catcliffe, we have the standard Duke playbook, so it's going to be a mix of running and passing. Going to be aggressive, have to be aggressive, of course, given some of the teams in the ACC in comparison to us. But on the defensive side of the football, we are actually running a 4-2-5, so there's going to be an emphasis on our defensive backfield. We do have the corners for it, but that being said, that does mean our defensive line, we got to beat that up a little bit since we do have 4 starting defensive linemen. As for the pipelines that we do currently have working with, we have 6 pipeline states as of right now: Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Alabama, Texas, and South Carolina. The problem is we are in danger of losing most of our pipelines next season. So, you know, besides North Carolina and Georgia, we got some work to do. Got to recruit some players from South Carolina, Ohio, Alabama, and Texas if we want to keep those pipelines. Definitely want to keep the Texas pipeline because there's a lot of talent in Texas, and there's also a lot of talent in the state of Ohio. 2 5-stars there, so definitely some work that needs to be done on the recruiting front for sure. But with that being said, this is what our schedule is going to be looking like here for year number 1, and starts off easy, you know, home games against FCS East and Syracuse, then road games against Georgia Tech and Pitt, home game against Troy, as well as a road game on the road against Memphis. So that rounds out our non-conference play. No Power 5 opponents outside of the ACC. Then we wrap things up at Virginia, home to Virginia Tech, on the road against NC State, and then I think I got a home game versus Miami, on the road against Wake Forest, and then home versus North Carolina. So yeah, that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. We're gonna see where we stack in terms of, compared to the rest of the ACC. So I'll see you guys there when we're in the regular season. So you want to talk about having absolutely no expectations. We were picked to finish last place in the ACC Coastal Division, and fairly so. We do have the worst roster in the division, and I'm pretty sure we have the worst roster in the entire ACC. Let's see where we end up at. Are we last in the ACC conference? We are, and we do have the worst roster in the entire ACC, bro. So this is going to be a long climb back up to the top. We got some recruiting to do. We'll see if we can sneak into a bowl game, but I'm not so sure. We're gonna have to find a way to get some upsets. I'll see you guys at the end of season 1 to see if we can end up doing just that. Alright boys, so we made it through season number 1 and definitely got some things to work on, right? Good news, we did actually win a couple of conference games. We beat FCS East and we also beat Syracuse to start off the year 2-0. But then the losing streak starts. We lost to Georgia Tech, blown out by Pitt, lose in overtime, by the way, to Troy, Sunbelt team, that's embarrassing, blown out by Memphis on the road, and then lose to Virginia, lose to Virginia Tech as well, in a blowout, by the way. Do see a little bit of a breakup. We beat NC State, which is one of our rivals, so at least we got that going, but we then proceed to lose our last 3 games, lose to Miami, lose to Wake Forest, and then also lose to our most hated rival, the Tar Heels of North Carolina. They blew us out at our own home stadium. We lost 36-6, you guys. So granted, our overall combined opponent record 83-58. It was a tough schedule, but 3-9, we got to build off of that if we want to stick around for the whole 5-year rebuild without actually getting fired. And I think what needs to be said is that everything starts off on the offensive side of football. Gunnar Holmberg was garbage, bro. 110 for 308. He had a 35% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. Luka Diamont was not that much better. 309 yards, touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Also, a 35% completion percentage. So I think first thing that we need to do, we need a better quarterback because none of these guys are really hitting. Almost had a 1,000-yard rusher, though. Mateo Durant had a solid year in his last season at Duke. 158, 924 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Also saw Gunnar Holmberg and Jordan Waters find the end zone multiple times. Duke Diamont, the backup quarterback, did end up chipping in with a touchdown himself. 126 yards of rushing on the year. But for the receivers, they were hampered by bad quarterback play. Nothing really to be said. Jake Bobo was a bright spot for us here. 36 catches, 424 yards, and 5 touchdowns. That did lead the team in all of those categories. Also saw Jalen Calhoun, who is coming back for his senior year, as well as Jake Marweed with multiple touchdown grabs. Mateo Durant chipped in with 247 and a touchdown. And then Jordan Waters, our backup running back, also did end up having a receiving touchdown as well. 66 catches, or 66 yards off of 7 catches. For the blocking, honestly, offensive line, not that bad considering who we're going up against. John Jalot, again, a bright spot. 30 pancakes and 11 sacks allowed, so not bad. Jake Lobosh, he was solid as well, 18-7. Jacob Monk got hurt. He was in and out of the lineup. Maurice McIntyre allowed 7 sacks, but also had 11 double-digit pancakes. Same thing for Graham Barton. Didn't allow a sack, though, and we do get to work for the next couple of years. Could be an NFL player.
I love you.
Defensively, we were led by a true freshman when it comes to tackles. Nick Morris Jr. led the team in tackles, and he's a true freshman. My man went to senior prom 6 months prior to the start of his college football season and leads the Duke Blue Devils in tackles, so nice little bright spot. Ben Fry was good too, 63 total tackles, 12 TFLs. Not really any great pass rushers, though. I mean, Ben Fry, he did have all those tackles, but only 4.5 sacks, which although did lead the team, we got a lot of work to do in terms of actually getting to the quarterback. Nobody had more than 5 sacks, and we didn't generate much pressure over the course of the season. However, we did manage to find a way to generate turnovers, though, which has been really interesting because usually when you build a defense, you start in your front 7 and then build outward. Lummy Young IV did lead the team in interceptions. He had 3 interceptions this year, but multiple guys had multiple picks. Nate Thompson had 2 picks. Jeremiah Lewis had 2 picks. Leonard Johnson had 2, and then Jalen Alexander also managed to have 2 interceptions. Finally, also forced multiple forced fumbles. Nate Thompson and Saeed Stevens leading the way with multiple forced fumbles. And then Lummy Young IV actually, doing a good job seeking out the football, man. 3 fumble recoveries. Usually don't see that. And we even chipped in with 3 defensive touchdowns. Just really saw our offense really let us down over the course of the season. We got to check these team stats out for offense, just in reference for just how bad we were, right? So, top offenses, Utah, all of them. There's us, worst offense, Navy. Not surprised they have a 60 overall offense, but we're right in there in that bottom 10. We only average 18 points a game, and that's not a winning formula to win football games. So, again, you probably figured it out already. Have to get better on the offensive side of football. Hopefully, we can make some adjustments and not get fired, so that maybe we can sneak into a bowl game in season number 2. But we'll just have to wait and see what we end up getting. Alright, boys, so we do end up going ahead, and we do end up with one NFL player. Mateo Durant's going to be a day 2 pick going in the 3rd round, but the audacity proceed to Jungle Sungu is going to end up going ahead and transferring somewhere else. He wants to go to Texas State. We'll, of course, get him to State, but it's going to be tough to get him to go. But, oh, hang on. We might be actually able to get him to State. Come on, baby. Can't come up. Oh. Yeah, he's going to leave for Texas State. But, I mean, that being said, it was hard to get him to State because Texas State is his hometown thing. I don't know, but we do end up losing somebody to the transfer portal. Hopefully we get a little bit boost in there when we go and see the transfers coming into our school. So clearly we are going to be a little bit down bad because we didn't even get any transfers. So we lost somebody into the transfer portal and we did not gain anyone in the transfer portal. So we got to do things the hard way. We got to get it done through recruiting. Now there's one person I'm really keying in on in particular. Greg Andrews. We found him through the Low-Lock Cheese and doesn't like our play style as much as he did when we were originally recruiting him, but he's 6'5", 177. He's got 96 speed, man. It's really important that we bring this guy in. We got a huge lead right now. Vanderbilt is the closest, but they're 3,600 points off. I did put 3,800 into him just in case to stave off anyone that wants to try to bring this kid in last second. A couple other players that I want to bring in that could help us a little bit down the line. Adam Brown. He's a 4-star wide receiver from Auburndale, Florida. Loves our academic prestige. Would at least be a good fit. Micah Hand, he helps fill a need as well. He's a 3-star corner from Cairo, Georgia. Eric Drummonds, always love getting some offensive linemen up in here. 2-star guard out of Reidsville, North Carolina. And then the last person I put some points towards is Chuck Miller from the Glen Burnie, Maryland. He's a 97th tackle in this recruiting class, 66. So, at least it's a little bit higher than what he was scouting out as. And that's the case for really all of these guys, with the exception of Adam Brown. But that being said, really the biggest thing for us right now, we just need some bodies at the end of the day that are capable of playing ACC college football. Greg Andrews, obviously really need to bring him in, but let's see what else we can bring in on top of him, hopefully. Alright, so it does look like we get Greg Andrews, which is exactly what we really needed right now. 80 overall. He's projected as a corner, but we'll see if he plays anywhere else. We do also end up getting Micah Hand and Eric Edmonds as well. So, two solid commits. Joel Fellows, he's probably going to end up getting cut if we have more than 70 people on the roster. So, we do end up signing roughly 20 guys in this class. We end up signing 21 guys total in this recruiting class. We're going to finish with the 60th overall recruiting class. Now, we are a 2-star program, and I mean, it's going to be an uphill climb. I mean, it's really going to have to be all about us developing players within our program, because we're just not going to have a lot of 4-star, 5-star guys that are going to be really interested in us from the get-go. So we're going to have to really be creative. Hopefully we land some guys that are going to end up being interested, being like 3-star players that are gems, maybe even 2 stars that are gems. It's going to be an interesting challenge, but that being said, we did at least, like I said, bring in some pretty talented football players. That was something that I was really looking forward to. Greg Andrews is a big one, but he's not alone. We do also sign a couple of JUCO guys like Ray Jackson, 2-star athlete. Daniel Green is actually a 4-star high school player. He's a number 10 athlete in the country. We end up signing him. Nick Hill is a 3-star player. He's nice. And then so is guys like Leon Grimes, Micah Han, Michael Carson, who could potentially be a starting quarterback for us in the future. Definitely a future-oriented class, but I think we do have a few players on this team that could be starters day one, depending on how position changes go, as well as how the training results go and all that good stuff. So we're here at position changes, and I mean, right off rip, man, Greg Andrews, one of the best players on our team. It was something that we really do desperately needed, and I could put him at free safety. He would be a 81, but actually no, we actually don't have really much depth at free safety right now. So you know what, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna throw Greg Andrews as a free safety. He'll be an 81. Ray Jackson, he could project as a quarterback. Now we could use some quarterback depth, but he also would go pretty well at the back defensive backfield. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put Ray Jackson at strong safety, because that's where he would be best fit. Daniel Green could be an offensive weapon, could be a tight end could be a tight end maybe, we'll see. Halfback, wide receiver, tight end. So what's our halfbacks? That's our halfbacks. Wide receivers, we did sign a few wide receivers. Tight end, he could potentially fight for a starting job at tight end, so we'll go ahead and put Daniel Green at that tight end position. He can compete for that in his true freshman year. And then that leaves Nick Hill, who looks like he could be a offensive weapon, might be halfback, might be the move for him. So 470 plus overall guys, that's not bad for Duke. We just gotta give these guys a little bit of time to grow. Might have to redshirt them, do whatever we need to do. Yeah, we'll go ahead and see how training results go. We'll see if we have any NFL caliber players on our roster this season. Alright, so it looks like we'll have a couple of guys that could be seeing their name called at the NFL draft after the end of the year 2. Shaka Hayward, he's a 91 overall, he's a +5, and then Jacob Monk, who is a +6. I believe he was the one that was in and out of the lineup over like the course of the season. Quarterback, we're still going to be shaky, but we will have a quarterback battle between Gunnar Holmberg and Luka Diamond. And of course, Jordan Moore will be in the mix. So is Riley Leonard. Halfback, not much better. Nobody over 80 there. We will have 3 solid wide receivers, though. Jalen Calhoun, Eli Pankel, and Jared Gardner. However, they're all seniors. And so is Daryl Harding Jr. So we'll need Jontavius Robertson and Malik Bowen Sims to grow up relatively quickly. Tight end, we'll at least have a couple of solid tight ends there. Offensive line, actually not looking too shabby. We'll have a solid offensive line, so at least we got that going. Defensively will be a little bit of a concern, though. Definitely have a few holes there. Linebacker, don't really use linebackers that much, but even then, like, our linebacking core isn't that great. Jeremiah Lewis could be an NFL player if he grows anymore, but we'll have to wait and see. But the depth behind him will be a little bit questionable. Free safety will be starting somebody, and then Jalen Alexander will be probably starting, and then maybe see Nate Thompson as like a nickel quarter or something like that. So that's our roster. That's what it's looking like as of right now in terms of the veterans. We'll see if we have to go ahead and make any cuts. Alright boys, so it does seem like we do have to at least make a few cuts on our roster. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about Lorenzo Maxwell. He did come in as a fullback. I kind of forgot that we didn't sign any fullbacks. It's not that big of a deal because Duke doesn't really utilize fullbacks, but Joel Fellows has got to go. That was the first thing, first and foremost. And then probably a few other of these freshmen are going to go. Chris Gilmore, got to go. Sean Marshall. Actually, no, I can't cut him because that meets the minimum. So here we are with 62 overall. Paul Ryan, bye. Cole Owens. We don't really use linebackers, so I'm not really concerned about him. So that's going to be our full 70, guys. I'll show you who I'm going to redshirt, our schedule for season 2, and then where we're projected to finish in the ACC. Alright, so I just realized that I forgot to do more position changes outside of my athletes, so that's a big oof on me, but we still got some guys that we can go ahead and redshirt regardless. Gonna redshirt Michael Kaysen. He's gonna be buried on the depth chart for a while, and he needs that seasoning. Only 59 awareness, that's not gonna fly with us, so he's gonna get redshirted. Nick Hill, same thing, buried on the depth chart. He's gonna redshirt and learn behind some not quality running backs, but veteran running backs to say the least. And same thing with Daniel Green. I like his athletic attributes, but just needs to learn the offense a little bit more. 59 awareness, that will not be cutting it anytime soon. At right guard, I am going to also redshirt Eric Williams, and that was part of the things I did forget to do. I forgot to change some things up here. Could have had a little bit better alignment with my offensive line, but that didn't happen like that, and that's on me, to be honest. At free safety, I am going to redshirt Bob Franklin. Somebody that is not going to obviously start over Greg Andrews, so he'll redshirt and maybe get a chance to start his senior year. And then strong safety, I actually have a ton of strong safeties right now, a couple of which are seniors. I'm going to redshirt a couple of these guys so that we get an extra year of eligibility with them. And maybe possibly move them around, maybe move them the corner next year if we're still around. Either way, we got to make some leaps and bounds in order to keep our job. But the thing about us, though, is that this schedule is going to be more difficult than what we experienced in year 1. Gets a little bit light at first. We do play against Kansas. They are kind of on the same boat that we are right now, trying to rebuild. And then we do also play Tulane at home. So 2 out of 3 home games to start things out. However, conference play is going to be brutal. On the road against Florida State, they're a blue blood program. Then we have home games against Syracuse and Wake Forest before things get a little stupid. On the 2 consecutive road games against Virginia Tech and Miami, both preseason top 25 teams. Georgia Tech, Virginia, and BYU, who's had some success the last couple of seasons. And then wrapping things up against Pittsburgh at home. That's our senior day, following with a road game against number 5 North Carolina, who very well could be heavily favored against us. So the good news is that we are a slightly better football team than we were last year. We are now 80s across the board, 81 offense and an 82 defense. However, we are still also ranked in the bottom of the ACC Coastal, so we're picked last in the division. And then are we going to finish last again in the ACC? They have us picked last in the ACC, but we're right there with Louisville. We're closing the gap a little bit at the very least, but we've got to find a way to get a little bit closer to a bowl game. I think 4 to 5 wins will be enough to keep our job, but we got to prove it on the field. I'll see you guys at the end of season number 2 to see if we do enough to keep our job so that I can keep this rebuild going for you guys. Alright boys, so we finished up all the simulating for year number 2, and I didn't know how, but things actually got worse. I knew it was going to be bad when we got blown out by Kansas, of all teams. We lost 38-3 to them. We got blown out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games after that to start the year. Technically blown out by Virginia as well, so we start off on a 9-game losing streak, but we start to figure things out a little bit towards the end. We did win on the road against BYU. They did go to a bowl game. We also beat Pitt. We pulled the upset on them towards the end, and Not to mention we were competitive against North Carolina, who did end up finishing number 6 in the final AP poll. So, I mean, it was a rough year. A double-digit loss here is not what you want to see, but showing some signs of life towards the end, winning 2 of your last 3. But here's the problem. We are now officially on the hot seat right now. We'll go ahead and check out the coach contract right now. That's where we're sitting right now. We are on the hot seat. So last year on our contract, I don't know if we're going to come back. I'm going to be really honest with you. If not, then we're going to fail the challenge. I mean, it was just rough. Year 1, it was bad, 3-9. Year 2, 2-10. And it's just been really downhill sledding for this year. It's definitely an uphill climb. But look at his season stats, man. Passing, once again. I mean, we had 2 quarterbacks that passed for over 1,000 yards each. Slightly better, I guess. I mean, both quarterbacks did better than 35% completion percentage. But our starting quarterback, Gunner, he ended up with 36%. And then Luka Diamond, he ended up with a 41% completion percentage, right? So it was a tough year. It was a really tough year once again. Threw almost as many interceptions as we did touchdowns, if we didn't do so already. So passing game definitely held us back. Rushing, we didn't even have anybody rush remotely close to 1,000 yards. Jalen Coleman was the closest, 672, 6 touchdowns. Also saw Jordan Waters and Gunnar Holmberg with multiple touchdowns, with Luka Diamond finding the end zone on the ground as well. Receiving wise, we did see Jalen Calhoun with a decent season, 611 yards, 5 touchdowns. Saw the same thing from Jarrett Gardner, 461 and 5 touchdowns as well. Matt Smith got a touchdown, and then Eli Pancol and Daryl Harding Jr. also found the end zone multiple times. But as you can see, not a lot of guys really catching the ball and really making a difference on the offensive side of the ball. And that was really what was holding us back, really, to start this whole rebuild, right? So offensive line, it was solid. It was what I expected. Offensive line did a really good job of holding things down, and we'll get at least 3 of the 5 back. So that's good. The offensive line is there. We just need better skill position guys, and specifically better quarterback play moving forward. Although Steve Ware saw a field a lot. 91 tackles, ended up with 33 solos, 58 assisted. Dorian Masu ended up with 74 total tackles. So at least our 2 leading tacklers were linebackers once again. So at least, you know, that tells me we didn't give up a ton of big plays. Pass rushing, the pass rush was a little bit better. Oddman Craig led the way with 5.5. And actually, Caleb Open actually also ended up with 5.5. So we had 2 players with more than 5 sacks. The pass rush getting a little bit better. Now, I don't think we ended up forcing 20+ turnovers, but Greg Andrews, freshman campaign, not too shabby. 25 tackles, 3 interceptions. Did not get any touchdowns or anything like that, but really a very nice freshman year for him. So that was a really big add. Dorian Masu also ended up with 3 interceptions, and Joshua Pickett had multiple INTs as well, the true sophomore, making a contribution in terms of creating some turnovers for us on the offensive side of the ball. However, we did not force very many fumbles, only 3 forced fumbles. Jalen Alexander, Steven Stevens, and Nate Thompson forced a fumble. We also recovered 2 of them though. Joshua Pickett got a fumble recovery, and Jeremiah Lewis did get a fumble recovery. And now is the moment of truth. We're in the last year of our contract. We're on the hot seat. We'll see if we can get one more shot, or are we going to get fired and we're going to fail the Duke rebuild challenge. I'll see you guys in the offseason. And that was the news that I was most concerned about. We end up getting fired. So definitely a tough look for us. I mean, 2 years of this rebuild, we end up finishing 5-19. And after 15 seasons, David Cutcliffe is going to get the hook at the end of the day. Definitely a tough look for him. I mean, he did what he could, man. He really did his best. But, I mean, the Duke football program, it's hard to build it. We failed the challenge. But, guys, let me know what I could have done better in order to succeed in this challenge. Besides, maybe a minor miracle from God. And also let me know what other schools you want to see me try and rebuild. Even though we didn't build Duke up like I wanted to, we do end up at the very least, you know, we're 3 for 4 so far in rebuild challenges. So let me know down in the comments what you want to see me rebuild next. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you smash that like button. Hit subscribe, by the way, if you do happen to be brand new. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off, but I'm hoping you're out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.